Good day, sports fans, and welcome to Cricket South Africa's Level 2 umpiring course, brought to you by Western Province Cricket Umpires Association, commonly referred to as WPCUA. My name is Tom Mokorosi. I am the training coordinator of WPCUA, and my co-presenter for this course will be Abdullah Steenkamp, who is the head of training for WPCUA. A lot of you have joined us previously for level 1. So those of you who are back, welcome back. Good to have you along. And for all our new candidates, welcome. Thank you for joining us. On display currently are the meeting protocols for all 6 of our lectures for this course. You will notice that your microphones and cameras are inactive while we present. We will aim to present between 30 and 45 minutes each lecture, and then the last 30 to 15 minutes of each lecture will be a question and answer session. And before the question and answer session starts, I will activate all of your microphones and cameras. While we present, you can type your questions into the chat box during the presentation so that you don't forget your question. Please keep the questions related to the content that we're presenting in each lecture. If at the 6th lecture, you still haven't asked a question on your mind because we haven't covered such content, we will be taking on the last lecture all questions related to anything about umpiring in and around the cricketing world. So for lectures 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, please keep your questions related to the content that we're presenting in that particular lecture. Just for us to all know that we can type into the chat box and also to get a feel of our audience, I would like all of us to say hello and introduce ourselves and where we are from. So I am going to type into the chat box, Tom from Cape Town, and if everybody else can also type into the chat box what city and country they are logging in from today. So there is mine, Tom from Cape Town, South Africa. If you can all please type in your name and location, and then we will know that you are able to type into the chat box and you can type your questions in throughout the presentation. If you would prefer to ask your question live via audio, you can do that as well. Once we've gone through all the questions in the chat box, then we will open up the floor to more questions, live questions, where you will need to raise your virtual hand. And when we acknowledge your hand, then you will unmute your microphone. And if you wish, you may switch your camera on as well so we can see who we are speaking to. And you can ask your question related to the content delivered today. We aim to finish in an hour, but we might go over time during the question and answer session, depending on how many questions and answers there are. You are welcome to leave at any time. This lecture and all other lectures will be recorded and will be posted onto our YouTube channel by tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. South African time. So if you are unable to attend lectures or you want to revise what has been presented, then you will be able to watch the recording within 12 to 15 hours after the end of each lecture. Please do remember that if you don't get a chance to ask your question live, do post it into the chat box. We will answer it and you can watch the answer on the recording. Just a reintroduction of myself and Abdullah. We are both members of Cricket South Africa's National First Class Panel. The 2023-2024 season, Abdullah was nominated as one of Cricket South Africa's Umpire of the Year. He was a nominee for that category. He didn't win the prize, but he was up against 3 international umpires. So that just shows the quality that he has delivered on the field in the last couple of years. And he continues to excel in his field on and off the field. Myself, I was appointed an ICC Umpire Master Educator for the region of Africa in 2023, and I've been delivering umpire courses throughout the continent for the last 18 months, and looking forward to going to Eswatini in a couple of weeks' time. So between the two of us, we have got over 35 years of umpiring experience and over 20 years of training umpires. So we hope you are in good hands and you will enjoy our company as we enjoy yours for the next 6 lectures. So what does our timetable look like for Cricket South Africa's Level 2 course? Today is lecture 1. And you will notice that we are not taking you through all 42 laws in the law book. We are only covering the laws and part of the laws that are examined in Cricket South Africa's Level 2 exam. So I counted earlier today, there are 19 laws that we are covering, and we are not covering all of each of those laws. We are only delivering the parts of the laws that are examined. So every single one of the 65 slides that we present is examined in Cricket South Africa's Level 2 exam. So please pay special attention to all the videos, all the text, and make sure if you don't understand that you ask relevant questions for what we present. Today, Abdullah will take us through laws 1, 2, 5, and 8. Next week, Monday, we will go through laws 13, 17, 20, and 21. Next week, Tuesday, we will go through laws 24, 27, 28, 29, 31. Lecture 4 will be 3 laws, 33, 35, 36, and we will finish lecture 5, the laws with law 37, 38, 41. On Tuesday, the 22nd of April, we will have a revision lecture where we will be shooting questions your way, and that will hopefully prepare you and show you what to expect in terms of the level of difficulty of questions in the Cricket South Africa Level 2 exam. You all would have seen that Cricket South Africa's Level 1 exam was online on Umpires Universe, and it was 69 questions of true or false and multiple choice questions. The Level 2 exam is a little bit more advanced. It is worth 100 marks. It's 2 hours long. The pass mark is still 80%. But there are no true or false questions. There are no multiple choice questions. There are written questions ranging from 1 up to 6 marks per question. There are up to about 42 questions, subdivided into 20 questions, some of which have more than 1 question in them. You will get a feel of those questions in our revision lecture on 22 April. The lectures are free, but an exam fee is payable if you wish to write the exam with us. It is 350 South African rands for those of you in South Africa. If you are not in South Africa, the exam fee is $35 US. The methods of payment are available on the email that I've sent to all of you, either the course material and logistics email that I sent through the course of last week, or the reminder lecture email that I sent through today. Lower down on both emails, you will find the payment methods. Thank you to all of you who have already paid, showing great interest in your umpiring career and investing in it. Most of you who have paid have not mentioned which day you will be writing the exam. There are 2 exam date options. You cannot write on both days. You need to choose one of the 2 days. The options are Saturday, the 3rd of May at 9 a.m. South African time, or Monday, the 5th of May at 6 p.m. South African time. And those of you in South Africa, Western Province Cricket Umpires Association members will be writing physically at Newlands Cricket Ground. I will let you know the room that we will be using closer to the time. And those of you who are members of other associations in South Africa, you cannot write online with us. You need to contact your head of training or your training coordinator, and you need to find out when they are next writing level 2 exams at your home association, and you will write with them. Please note it is in capital letters and it is in luminous green. This is a Cricket South Africa regulation. We cannot allow umpires from other associations to write with Western Province Cricket Umpires Association. Those of you who are private candidates anywhere around the world and including South Africa, you will be writing online on either one of those 2 exam date options. We use a proctoring exam website called exam.hostexam.net, and I will be taking you through a few screenshots just to show you what that interface looks like. We used it in January for the first time for level 3 exams, and it ran very smoothly, and we expect that it will run smoothly again with level 2 exams in May. Please note that when you make payment for the exam, you need to send the proof of payment to yourself and then forward it from the email address that you want to register the exam for to training@wpcua.co.za. I will ask Abdullah to punch that email address into the chat box. You need to send your proof of payment to training@wpcua.co.za. Also, when you send your proof of payment, please mention which day you will be writing the exam, Saturday, the 3rd of May, or Monday, the 5th of May. You cannot write on both days. You need to choose one of the 2 options. You have until Wednesday, the 30th of April to make payment and forward your proof of payment and advise us as to which exam date option you will take. Once all the exams are done and dusted, from Tuesday, the 6th of May, we will be marking your exams. Depending on how many candidates write the exams, it could take us 2 days, it could take us 2 weeks, it could take us 2 months. No, it won't take us 2 months. We will try our best to have your results back to you by Monday, the 19th of May. And for those of you who have passed, your certificates will be sent to you by the following Monday, the 26th of May. As mentioned, the pass mark is 80%. For those candidates who achieve between 65 and 79%, you will be allowed a free rewrite of the exam, and that will probably be with the level 3 candidates in late July or early August this year. Those dates will be confirmed closer to the time. But hopefully all of you pass and all of you will get your certificates by Monday, the 26th of May. For those who do pass, Level 3 lectures will start on Monday, the 23rd of June. That is what we are currently planned. So let's have a quick look at what the exam interface looks like. So once you have paid your exam fee and you've sent your proof of payment to training@wpcua.co.za, you would have sent the day that you will write on that email. For those of you writing on Saturday, the 3rd of May, you will get this registration information email 2 days before your exam, which will be Thursday, the 1st of May. And it gives you your login details for your exam. And you can log in anytime before your exam to do a systems check, because there are minimum requirements that the proctoring software website needs your device and your internet connection to have. So best that you check that you have the minimum requirements well in advance instead of a couple of minutes before the exam. So you will receive this registration email 2 days before your exam. So if you're writing on the Saturday, you'll receive it on Thursday. If you're writing on Monday, you'll receive it on Saturday. And all you then need to do from here on in is you can either click on this URL to take you to the exam website, or you can copy and paste it into a Google Chrome browser. Google Chrome is the web browser that the website recommends you use. There are your user ID and your password, which you will need on the login screen. The login screen is to the left, and there it's pretty simple. You type in your user ID, you type in your password that was issued on the email, you click to prove that you're not a robot, and then you sign in. When you sign in, you will see the screen on the right, which tells you that you've been scheduled for Cricket South Africa's level 2 exam. This is a screenshot from a level 3 exam in December. And it will show you the validity days that you can write the exam. But of course, we have an exact scheduled date and time. Okay, so you won't be able to start the exam before the scheduled date and time. You won't be able to start the exam after the scheduled date and time. You will click on start, and you will then be taken through a proctor check where myself or Abdullah will ask for your ID. Your ID will need to be a picture ID of your driver's license or your passport or your ID. And then we will just ask you to show us around your room that it's empty. There is no study material that can help you. Your phone needs to be away. This is a closed book exam. Unlike the level 1 exam, it's a closed book exam, so you cannot have anybody or any content helping you in the quiet room that you are sitting in. Also note that all candidates are watched and recorded, and any behavior that is suspicious will be noted. And if you don't follow the required protocols, you will be disqualified from the exam, and your script will not be marked. So please, let's take that process very seriously. The integrity of Cricket South Africa's level 2 and 3 certificates needs to be upheld, And the way that we do that is through this website with strict proctoring protocols. Just a last couple of screenshots to show you what the exam looks like. This is a mock exam question paper, so don't think that this is a level 3 question that you might use in the future. But you can see that the questions are on the left-hand side of the screen, and the answer you need to type in on the right-hand side of the screen. And you can see in level 2 and level 3, we need long, full answers, not just one-word answers or true or false or multiple choice questions that we got in level 1. Once you've completed all 20 questions in the level 2 exam, then you will have a summary which will tell you that you've answered all your questions. It will show you if you've marked any questions for review. Maybe while you were typing your answers, you thought, hang on, I need more time to think about this one. I'll come back to it. So you mark it for review and you go next. So this is quite a useful summary right at the end to show you that you have answered all the questions. And once you are satisfied that everything has been answered to your best ability, then you can click on the submit button, and that will be the end of your exam. We will be strict on time. It is a 2-hour exam, and as soon as you start, the countdown will start. You'll see a clock. It says 54 minutes and 10 seconds left at the moment. That obviously counts downwards, so you need to keep an eye on your time for the duration of the exam to make sure that you answer all of the questions in the given 2 hours. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a quick overview of the exam. We will, in our revision lecture on Tuesday, the 22nd of April, go through a click-by-click demonstration how you need to register, log in, do the system requirements and the identification protocols for the exam. So don't worry too much if it all looks complicated and difficult. It's not. You will learn how easy it is on Tuesday, the 22nd of April during the revision lecture. That is all I have to deliver for you this evening. I am now going to hand over to Abdullah, who's going to take us through the laws that we are covering for today. Abdullah, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tom. Good evening to you and good evening to the rest of the attendees, or good day wherever you are in the world. I am covering 4 laws this evening, and I'm only covering certain subsection of those laws. I am kicking off with law number 1, which covers the players. And the first subsection that I'm covering under law 1 is about the nomination of players and the replacement of players. Let's first start with the nomination of players. When does it need to be done and who does the nomination? So law specific can tell us each captain to nominate his or her side, and that nomination of the players needs to be done in writing, and it needed to be handed to one of the umpires before the toss. So practically what usually happens, captains will nominate their sides in writing, and they will bring this piece of paper or this nomination sheet with the name of the nominated players to the toss. Umpires then to look at the nomination sheet. This is an example on the right-hand side of a nomination sheet that we use in club cricket in Cape Town, South Africa. So the captains will then complete this particular sheet and will then bring it to the toss. And before the toss takes place, umpires will then just check everything is completed. If the sheet is not completed, umpires will not allow the toss to take place. Captains must nominate the team before the toss takes place. So now we get to the toss. Both captains have now nominated the players. So now the law tells us that no player to be changed after nomination has been done. There is a but, and that but is it can be changed if you get the consent of the opposing captain. So we're now at the toss. Captains has now nominated their teams. Toss takes place. Let's say side A wins the toss. So with let's say our test match starting at 10 o'clock, 9:30 toss takes place. Usually there is a bit of warm up before the game starts. So while the captain tosses, both teams will partake in warm ups. So now toss took place at 9:30, and let's say one of the players break their leg or break their ankle now before the game starts at 10. Now with ankle now broken, can that player be replaced? Yes, the law allows for that player to be replaced. But there is a but, and what is that but? You need the consent of the opposing captain. So using the same example, let's say player X broke his leg. Captain will now come to the umpires. Player X broke his leg. Can we replace this player? Umpires will tell the captain, yes, the player can be replaced, but we need the consent of the opposing captain. We will then walk over to the opposing captain, ask him or her permission that the injured player to be replaced. If the captain say yes, then that injured player can be replaced. And we'll see in the next slide what this replacement player can do and cannot do in the game. And if the opposing captain say, no, I'm not happy, I will not allow this player to be replaced, then unfortunately, nothing that the umpires or anyone can do. That player will unfortunately not be able to be replaced. So the crux here is, yes, the law allows for a player to be replaced after the nomination has been done, but you need the consent of the opposing captain. And before we go into the next slide to tell us what this replacement player is allowed to do and not allowed to do, when I just started, I got confused between a replacement player and a substitute player. So what is the difference? A substitute player is a player that comes onto the field of play for an injured player, and there are certain restrictions on this substitute player. Just an example, let's say the game has now started, bowler pulls a hammy, asks the umpire, can I quickly go off to get some treatment? And because of this injury, umpires will then allow the bowler to go off to get treatment. The law now allows for a substitute player to come onto the field, to be on the field while that player is off to get treatment. But there are limitations on the substitute fielder. And what are those limitations? They are the substitute fielder is not allowed to bat, nor is that substitute fielder allowed to bowl, nor is that substitute fielder allowed to be a captain. And yes, the law allows for that substitute fielder to be the wicketkeeper, but with the consent of the umpires. So that is now a substitute fielder and the limitations on this particular substitute fielder. So now to come back to this replacement player. So in our example, when the player broke his leg, the captain came to the umpires asking, umpires, can this player be replaced? We then go to the opposing captain asking, Captain, player X broke his leg. Can we replace this player? The opposing captain say, yes, no problem. This player can now be replaced. So this replaced player or replacement player, what is he or she allowed to do? This replacement player to be considered the same as a nominated player. This player has full power. This player to bat, to bowl, to field, full power in this game. The difference between the replacement player and the substitute player, and I've highlighted it, there are limitations on the substitute player. Remember, the substitute player only comes on for a while for this injured player while the player is getting treatment. So there are these limitations for the substitute player. But this replacement player is a player that now replaced this injured player. And this replacement player has full power, can bowl, can bat, can field, can do anything in this particular game. So that is the difference between a replacement player and a substitute player. So a replacement player shall not bat in an innings in which the nominated player he or she is replacing has completed the innings. And also in terms of the replacement player, any unserved penalty time, warnings, or suspensions that the original nominated player received will be inherited by the replacement player. And in terms of the replacement player, it's not always the case that it's only because of injury. Most of the cases it is, but I was involved in a game where one of the players, his wife, they received a call that his wife was giving birth. He then had to leave the field. Opposing captain came to the umpire saying, umpires, my player needs to leave. Unfortunately, will not be able to partake in this game due to his wife giving birth. We went to the opposing captain. The opposing captain then agreed that this player to be replaced, and the replacement player could take full part in the game, could bat and bowl. Next subsection under Law 1 is the captain, and in particular the deputy. If the captain is not available, a deputy to act for the captain. So what can the deputy do and what can the deputy not do? So if the captain is not available to nominate the players, the law tells us that in terms of the nomination of players, any person associated with the team can nominate the players. So you can have the coach writing the nominated players on the team sheet. We often find the scorers at club cricket write or down the nominated players on the team sheet. So any player, if the captain is not available, any person associated with the team can nominate the players. But after the nomination of players, and when it comes to the duties and the responsibilities of the captain, example, at the toss, only one of the nominated players can act as a deputy if the captain is not available. So if the toss is to take place, you cannot have the coach stand in for the captain or be deputy. You cannot have a scorer. You cannot have the team manager stand in as deputy for the captain at the toss. it must be one of the nominated players to act as deputy at the toss. So in terms of the nomination of players, anyone associated with the team. But as soon as, let's say the toss needs to take place, it needs to be one of the nominated players to conduct the toss if the captain is not available. So that's all we're covering under Law 1. Under Law 2, there's only one subsection that we're covering, and that is, what do we discuss with the captains before the game starts? So before the toss, it is important for the umpires. They need to meet with the captains, and they need to discuss the following. They need to discuss which balls to be used during the match. Yes, I know there are playing conditions that do decide which balls to be used for various competitions. But if there are no playing conditions in place, and when it comes to the balls to be used for that particular match, this needs to be discussed before the toss takes place. So both umpires and both captains, this is one of the things that needs to be discussed. Secondly, you need to discuss the hours of play, times for your lunch, times for drinks, times for meals, which watch are we going to use. That needs to be discussed if there's no playing condition in place that covers the times and hours and timing for meals, etc. Also, what needs to be discussed is the boundary of the field of play and the allowances for boundary, including whether any obstacle that is within the field of play, whether this obstacle to be regarded as a boundary if the ball should hit it. On the right is a picture of an example of a tree that is inside the field of play. This is a tree at the Pietermaritzburg Oval in Pietermaritzburg, KwaZulu-Natal, South Africa. So this tree is inside the field of play. And we usually get guided by the custom of that particular ground. What I mean by the custom is this tree has been there for many years, and the local side, there's been a way how they handle if the ball should hit the tree. We usually get guided by that particular custom, and the custom at the Pietermaritzburg Oval is if the ball should hit the tree, it will be 4 runs, or it will be boundary 4. Whether it hits the tree, the bottom of the tree, the middle of the tree, the top branch of the tree. If it hits the tree, it will be a boundary 4. So this needs to be discussed before the game starts. At the local club, another example is at the local club that I've played for many years, we had rugby poles in about 15 meters from the boundary. So this needs to be discussed with the captains before the game starts. And what the custom at our field was, if the ball hits the rugby poles, it will be boundary 4. And when you do decide on whether it's going to be regarded as a boundary or not, please make your life simple. Don't have a discussion where you say if it hits the top of the poles, it's going to be 6. If the bottom of the rugby poles, it's going to be be boundary 4. You'll find for someone looking at a ball hits the rugby poles, what is bottom, what is the top of. Just make it simple. If it hits the poles, boundary 4, like the custom at the Pietermaritzburg Oval. And this is a huge tree. It's about 30 meters, 35 meters high. But the custom is, even if it hits the top branch, it will be boundary 4. So this is another thing that needs to be discussed. The use of covers also needs to be discussed before the toss takes place between the umpires and the captains. And lastly, if there's any special condition affecting the match, that also needs to be discussed. According to the laws, these are the 5 points that needs to be discussed by the umpires with the captains before the toss is going to take place. Next law is the bat, and the subsection that we're focusing on is when does the ball make contact with the bat? So this contact between the ball and any of the bat itself. So the whole of the bat from the top right up until the bottom, not just the blade. This includes the handle, the whole bat. Also, the batter's hand holding the bat. Any part of the glove worn on the batter's hand holding the bat. And the emphasis I want to put on here is the batter's hand holding the bat, or any part of the glove worn on the batter's hand holding the bat. Any additional materials permitted. If the ball touches it, it's made contact with the bat. Examples of additional materials is many bats have toe guards at the bottom. Additional material is the grip that gets put on the handle. So if the ball touches the grip, it's made contact with the bat. If it touches the toe guard at the bottom of the bat, it's made contact with the bat. But again, just to emphasize bullet point 2 and 3, the ball needs to go against the hand holding the bat for the ball to have made contact, or any part of the glove worn on the batter's hand holding the bat. And if this is the case, the ball is to have strike or touch the bat. So here's a picture of, I can't remember his name. I think this is Marcus Stoinis. So this is Marcus Stoinis. The ball went down the leg side. And if you and this decision was reviewed. So if you look at the left picture and you look at the right and then you look at the middle, you'll see the middle. You see there's a spike. But if you look at the left, it looks as if the hand is off the bat. If you look at the right hand pick, you can see the hand is definitely off the bat. And then the ball made contact with the glove of the hand, not in contact with the bat. So now because the ball made contact with the glove that is not holding the bat, and this catch was fairly taken by the keeper, this to be given not out. Yes, the ball made contact with the glove, but because the glove was not holding the bat, was not in contact with the bat, that's why this to be given not out. For the ball to have made contact, it needs to make contact with the batter's hand holding the bat, or any part of the glove worn of the batter's hand holding the bat. The last law that I'm covering this evening is about the wickets. And there's a video that I'm going to play, and in particular, we're going to discuss dispensing with the bails. Before I play the video, so when do we usually dispense the bails? When do we usually take off the bails? Always try to play with bails on. From an umpiring point of view, it makes your life so much easier. Because if the bails are on, how will the wicket be down? If one or both bails is dislodged or on the ground, wicket is then down. If there are no bails on the stumps, now the law changes. And in the video, I will explain. This was a level 1 course that I did a year or two ago, where I explained to the candidates how the law works when the umpires decided to dispense with the bails or took off the bails. And we usually dispense with the bails in high winds. In Cape Town, we often find very strong winds in certain sections of Cape Town. And in terms of just to save time, because you'll often find the bails blowing off. I mean, you can't be continuously picking up bails, just in terms of saving time. And because of the strong winds, the law allows for the bails to be taken off the stumps. So if we do decide, because of high winds, to take the bells off or to dispense with the bells, the law allows for it. You then need to take the bells off at both ends. You cannot say, yes, but the bells are only blowing off at let's say, the southern end. We're only going to take off those bells. We're going to keep the bells on at the northern end. No, if you do decide to take, excuse me, to take off the bells due to high winds, you need to remove the bells from both ends. And later on, let's say the wind do die down and conditions permit, please put the bells back on. And why is it important? Because the law changes if the bells are on and if the bells are not on. So I'm going to take us through a video that's going to explain how the law works if after the umpires decided, due to high winds, to dispense with the bells, to remove the bells. So let's listen how the law works after the umpires decided to dispense with the bells due to high winds and they remove the bells from both ends. Bells are around about 1 o'clock because we kept on, the bells kept on blowing off. And I'm getting old now, and I said, no, just leave the bells. We're just wasting too much time continuously cleaning up the bells. So now we decided to remove the bells. And usually when you decide to remove the bells, there's only one reason. The wind keeps on blowing it off. And when you do decide to remove the bells from the stumps, you need to remove it from both ends. You cannot have a game where you say, I'm only removing the bells from this end because this is where it keeps on falling off. Unfortunately not. The law is quite clear on this. If you do decide to remove the bells because the wind blows it off, you need to remove it from both ends. So now we decided to remove the bells from both ends. Now the law changes. All the law now tells us once you decide to remove the bells is the ball now just needs to touch any of the stumps. So now no need to hit it out the ground, throw it out the ground, do these. People can do it if they want to, but not necessary. The law tells us all that now needs to happen is for the ball to touch the stumps. Now, from an umpiring point of view, you now need to be on high alert because remember the ball just needs to touch the stumps and it can be difficult. I had arguments already in my umpiring career, took off the bells and the fielding side would say, yeah, but umpire, kissed the stumps. Batters, obviously the batter's going to say, no, it didn't touch the stumps. What you need to do is you need to go and consult your colleague. Ask your colleague, did he hit the stump? Yes or no? If you're not sure, what do you do as umpires? Benefit goes to the batter. You must be 100% sure that either of you saw the ball at least touching the stumps. If not, give the benefit to the batter. Tom, thank you so much. That's all I'm covering this evening. I'm now handing back to you.
Thank you very much, Abdullah. And thank you to all the candidates who have posted in the chat box telling us where they are dialing in from. A very warm welcome to everyone from around the world. We have guests from Ireland, the USA, Finland, Canada, Zimbabwe, our neighbors Lesotho, the United Arab Emirates, Uganda, and India. Apologies if I've missed out any other countries. And of course, we've got a whole host of candidates all over South Africa. Welcome to all of you and well done on investing in your umpiring careers. Stevie Rasmus, he's from China. That is no doubt the first time we've got a candidate from China in one of our lectures. So welcome, Stevie. So going through the chat box, we have a question from Elmarie asking if there will be recordings of these lectures. Yes, Elmarie, as I'm sure you were notified by Microsoft Teams, this lecture and all our lectures are recorded and they will be posted on our YouTube channel the morning after each lecture. I commit to sending you the link by 10 a.m. the morning after every lecture. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'll type the channel website address into the chat box. And once you are subscribed, there is an option to be notified every time that a video is posted on our YouTube channel. So then you don't have to wait for me to send the link on email or on WhatsApp of the recording. You will automatically get an email from YouTube notifying you that a new video has been posted on our channel. So hope that helps, Almarie. Next question, Abdullah, is from Bandile. He asks, shouldn't the nomination sheet have 12 names on it? When he used to play, they always used to nominate 12 players. Abdullah, does the nomination sheet need 12 names on it or just 11?
Bandiri, no need to have 12 names on it, only 11. If according to the laws, if the laws allows for 11, usually a game is played between 11 aside, sometimes more, sometimes less, depending on that particular game, but it's usually 11. So you only need to put down 11 players according to the law. In terms of the substitute, actually anyone associated to that particular side can be substitute, so you don't need to put down the 12th or 13th or 14th player. The law only requires you to put down the 11 nominated players. Over, Tom.
Thanks, Chula. The next question is from Sundar. He says about the ball making contact with the bat. What about a forearm guard that is in contact with the glove? Would that be considered an extension of the glove? So if the forearm guard is covering the glove and the ball hits the forearm, would that be considered as the ball making contact with the bat? Abdullah, I've got a picture of Liam Livingston who did that in a county match because his hand was broken from the first innings in the match, and he was now trying to protect his broken hand when he came into bat for the second innings. So while you answer Sundar's question, I'm going to try and find that picture and post it into the chat box, please.
Yes, Sundar, thanks for your question. The ICC guided on this particular question. It came up, and they took this exact question to the lawmakers. Will the forearm guard be considered as an extension of the glove? Yes or no? And the lawmakers came back and said to us, no, the forearm guard will not be an extension to the glove. It needs to hit the glove for the ball to make contact with the glove, and let's say it can now goes to a fielder without touching the ground. That particular batter and the glove was holding the bat, or hand was holding the bat. That particular batter can be given out caught. So no, not an extension of the glove. Over, Tom.
Thanks, Dula. I've posted the picture of Liam Livingston for everybody to see. In that scenario, and in any scenario where a batter might come to the crease with a forearm guard that covers the glove, as a proactive umpire, you need to ask that batter to move his or her forearm guard upwards so that it does not cover any part of the glove, including the strap. The two must be separate. Next question is from Gaurav, all the way from Dublin, Ireland. He has a question regarding Law 1. I understood that a nominated player can be replaced after the completion of his batting innings. Can a nominated player be replaced in between his innings? For example, a player currently at the crease playing has an injury and needs to leave the field. Usually the batter would be retired hurt in this case. Can the batting team captain request for the player to be replaced in this situation? Does the law allow for this request from the batting captain? So Abdullah, I'll take this one. Gaurav, I'm sure you will have noticed in international cricket as well as most professional domestic leagues around the world, there is what's called a concussion replacement that is allowed. It started, I think, in 2021. I remember Steve Smith playing for Australia against England in an Ashes test match, was hit at the back of the head, sort of neck area, by a vicious delivery from Jofra Archer. And Steve Smith, being the gutsy cricketer that he is, actually carried on batting. But overnight, he was diagnosed with concussion. And so Australia submitted a concussion replacement form, and Marnus Labuschagne became the first concussion replacement in international cricket. It was a like-for-like replacement because they are both middle-order batters, and at the time, they both used to bowl part-time leg spin. And at international cricket and provincial domestic level, the concussion replacement can bat and can bowl depending on what time they replace the player that has been concussed. So if Steve Smith had been out and was replaced by Marnus Labuschagne, then Marnus Labuschagne would not be able to bat because Steve Smith had already been out in terms of the modes of dismissals, not retired hurt. Obviously, if he was just retired hurt, then Marnus could carry on batting in place of Steve Smith. So that is at international cricket, where they've got playing conditions which should allow for like concussion replacements. In recreational cricket and club cricket around the world, where the law applies, where there are no concussion substitutes allowed, a replacement is allowed with the consent of the opposing captain. It can happen before the game starts, after the toss, if maybe there was an injury to a player during a warm-up. It can even happen during the game. Like Abdullah mentioned, the doctor who was on call and got an emergency call, he was replaced by another player who could bat and bowl in place of the doctor who left the match. And there are no restrictions in terms of that replacement player having to be a like-for-like replacement. That restriction is only for concussion replacements in international and domestic professional cricket. When it comes to recreational cricket, if you are applying the law, then there is no like-for-like restriction on replacements. The only condition is that the opposing captain should allow the replacement. If the opposing captain does not allow a replacement, then the umpires can allow a substitute to field in place of the injured player. Remember, Abdullah mentioned a substitute cannot bat, cannot bowl. Yes, he or she can keep wicket, but mainly will field in place of the injured player. I hope that answers your question. If it doesn't, feel free to raise your hand and we will come to you after we've gone through all the other questions in the chat box. Shiva asks, regarding the consultation with captains, what is meant by the allowances for boundary? Is it the time to be added for the ball retrieval if the ball is lost? Abdullah, do you want to take that one while I activate all the candidates' microphones and cameras for the live Q&A?
Yeah. Siva, this law was written many years ago. So in terms of allowances for boundaries, what they're referring to is boundaries. Are they going to be boundary 4s, boundary 6s? And now back in the day, it used to be slightly different. So this is what is meant for, what is meant by what is allowances for boundaries. But these days, the law is actually clear. It's in the law book. So when it comes to the boundaries, it's either boundary 4 or boundary 6. Over, Tom.
Thanks, Dullah. I remember back in 2016 when I umpired in Cricket South Africa's Varsity Cup, where the top 8 universities in the country play against each other in televised matches. Great experience for up-and-coming umpires to stand in televised games and also to be TV umpires. The sponsor of the tournament was, one of the sponsors of the tournament was Samsung, the mobile electronics company, and they had a big phone in a balloon type shape just outside the boundary at the main oval, and the playing condition was that if any batter hits a ball in the air over the boundary and it hits that massive 10-meter high phone, 3-meter wide phone, then it would be 10 runs instead of 6. So those are the boundary allowances that need to be discussed. If it's not as per law, your boundary 4 and your boundary 6 as described and detailed in the law book in law 19, then we need to obviously discuss it at the toss. And also, as Abdullah mentioned, if there's a tree in the middle of the field, is it going to be a boundary 4 if it hits that tree, or if it's going to be a boundary 6 if it hits the tree? So those are the boundary allowances that the law refers to. Shiva, I hope that answers your question. Next question from Liabona. Why don't they just cut the tree down, Abdullah, to make it easier at the Pietermaritzburg Oval for us to see a 6 and see a 4 clearly?
That tree has been, that tree has been there before, before the stadium was built.
Correct.
Yeah, so So yeah, they definitely not gonna cut the tree, and I can tell you it's an enormous tree, and I've seen some of the biggest falls ever hit. I actually was once where it hit one of the top branches, and it went out the stadium. That's how big it was. It was in the nets, which was literally almost outside the stadium. And but because it clipped the top of the branches, we had to give it boundary 4, unfortunately. Over Tom.
Thanks, Tula. Next question is from Hitesh Kumar. He asks, if there are only 9 players at the ground, do we play the match? Is there a minimum amount of players required to start a game of cricket? Abdullah?
It is the law does not put a number. I know there are playing conditions across the world that do put a number, like in Cape Town South African club cricket. There is a playing conditions that put a number. They put 7. We cannot start a game with less than 7 players. But in terms of the law, there is actually no number they put on it in terms of the minimum players that's allowed to start the game. Tom, just check for me. What is the word that the lawmakers use in terms of starting the game? I see you've got the law book in front of you. I see.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what
Yes.
I'm just saying. Under law 1, there's a words that the lawmakers use in terms of they don't give you a number, but there's certain words that they use. The game can start or continue if it's
by agreement. By agreement. By agreement.
Number of players. By agreement, a match may be played between sides of fewer than or more than 11 players, but not more than 11 players may field at any time. Thank you. Okay. Next question is from Dickie Carstens. Law 1, the following appears to be contradictory. 1.2.3, any replacement player shall be considered the same as a nominated player. But then 1.2.3.1 says a replacement shall not bat. Dickie, I've looked at the law book and you've put a full stop at 1.2.3.1. That sentence continues. It says, a replacement shall not bat in an innings in which the nominated player that he or she is replacing has completed his or her innings. As mentioned, in the concussion replacement scenario where Marnus Labuschagne replaced Steve Smith, if he was out already and was then replaced by Marnus Labuschagne, then Marnus Labuschagne could not bat in that same innings. He could bat in the second innings, yes. If Steve Smith retired hurt because of that bouncer that hit him in the neck and the concussion replacement was made there and then Marnus Labuschagne could bat in the first innings as well as the second innings. So, Dickie, please read that sentence in its completion. There is no full stop after the word bat. Shiva goes on to ask, if the arm guard is touching the glove, so it's not separate, there's no visible gap, I understand that the ball still needs to make contact only with the glove or the strap to be considered as making contact with the bat. If the ball touches the arm guard, it's not to be considered making contact and will not be considered out. Is that correct? Yes, Shiva. The arm guard is not part of the glove, even if they are touching each other, whether completely covering or just the end of the arm guard touching the end of the wrist strap, they are not considered as one, whether they're touching each other or not. I hope that clarifies your question. Next question is from Ralekhala. He asks, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Law 1, what is my decision if the captain brings a team sheet with 11 players, but 2 of those players are not yet at the venue? When those 2 players arrive, one is found not to be on the team sheet. Abdullah, so we've got 11 names on the team sheet, but the 11th player who arrives is not on the team sheet. What do we do then?
Yeah, law guides us. We can only replace a player with the consent of the opposing captain. So we need to go to the opposing captain, ask him or her, explaining the situation that yes, we wrote player X's name on there, but unfortunately player X is not able to partake in this game. We would like to change that name to player Y. You need the opposing captain's permission. Over, Tom.
Thanks, Dula. Conrad asks, does this mean that in the Proteas' recent test series against Pakistan, where the Pakistani opener injured his ankle, Temba Bavuma did not give consent for Pakistan to replace the player? Conrad, to be honest, I don't think at that level that the teams even ask each other if they can make a replacement. It is general knowledge and widely considered that replacements will only be asked for if there's an injury before the match starts. It's not in the law. You can still ask for a replacement during the match. But if you think about it, that opener for Pakistan, he had already played. I think he got injured on day 2 or day 3. And if you bring in a fresh player, that player has the advantage of not being tired from 2 or 3 days worth of test match cricket, where all the other players have been through the heat of a January New Year's test match at Newlands, Cape Town. So I'm not sure if the Pakistan captain didn't ask, but if he did ask Temba Bavuma, then Temba Bavuma would have respectfully declined the replacement request.
Tom, if I can just add something to it. There's a playing condition that covers this exact scenario. The playing condition puts a time constraint on replacing players. The law, there's no time constraint, meaning you can replace a player any time of the game, but there's a playing condition for international cricket that put a time limit. And that time limit is, let's say our test match, day 1, 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock is cut-off time on day 1. No player to be replaced after the game has started. After 10 o'clock on day 1, no player to be replaced. There is a but, and that but is a concussion replacement. But in terms of any other replacement, the playing condition for test match cricket put a time limit on replacing a player, and that time limit is the start of play in that particular test match, day 1 at 10 o'clock. So for that reason, because there is a playing condition in place, unfortunately, yes, the Pakistani opener broke his ankle, but the playing condition is clear. Because the game has already started, unfortunately, he could not be replaced. Over, Tom.
Thanks, Tula. We have reached the... Okay, we've got another question from Hitesh in the chat box. It's illegal fielder on the field because his name is not on the playing 11. What must the umpire do? Hitesh Kumar, substitutes in club cricket are not usually on the nominated players list. We just need to be informed that a substitute is coming onto the field in place of an injured player. If a player comes onto the field or returns onto the field without permission of the umpires, then there is punishment. The ball immediately becomes dead if and when the illegal or unauthorized player comes into contact with the ball. Because a lot of players don't know this law, we call and signal dead ball, and there are 5 penalty runs awarded to the batting side, and the runs completed before the player came into contact with the ball will count, as well as the run in progress if the players have crossed at the instant when the unauthorized player came into contact with the ball. But if you do spot that unauthorized player on the field before he or she comes into contact with the ball, you just need to go up to them and ask them just to confirm that they are a member of the club, and then also just let them know that they should inform the umpires when they are coming onto the field as a replacement player or a new player for the first time. Okay, I hope that answers your question, Hitesh. Fezile wants to know, Abdullah, and if I can just ask everybody to stay on mute while we go through the questions. Just going to mute everybody because I'm getting a lot of feedback. Fezile asks, Abdullah, what happens if it rains at 10 a.m. on a test match on day 1? Will the playing condition still remain that no nominated players can be replaced at 10 a.m. onwards on day 1?
So did the toss take place already?
That I don't know, Abdullah.
Yeah, so the cutoff time is the start of the game. That is what the playing condition tell us. So if toss took place at 9:30, yes, the game's supposed to start at 10 a.m. But because of rain, it didn't start. But technically, the test match has started already. If let's say there was no toss, it was raining. No play at 10 a.m. Game hasn't started, toss hasn't taken place, then this time limit has not kicked in yet. But because of the toss, if the toss took place at 9:30, and yes, the cutoff time is still 10 o'clock. Over, Tom.
Thanks, Tula. So we have the hand up from Gaurav. Gaurav, I think you wanted to expand on my answer to your earlier question about nominated players being replaced. Please unmute your microphone. The floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you so much for taking the question. So, yeah, so it is just an extension of the question. So just correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm understanding it right. So, say for example, in a tournament where the playing condition does not have concussion substitute and does not have any cutoff time for the replacement player to be introduced. So in this case, if a batter is batting and an injury happens, so the batting team captain can request for the batter to be replaced. So is my understanding right? So in this case, the umpire can allow that. So is that a right understanding of the law?
Yes, the law does not place any time limit on when a replacement can be requested. Remember that it is not the umpires who allow the replacement. It is the opposing captain who allows or disallows a nominated player to be replaced. So yes, the batting captain can ask for a replacement, but it is unlikely, because of the reason I mentioned with the Pakistani opener getting injured, it is unlikely that the opposing captain is going to allow a replacement to bat in place of the injured batter. But law does allow for the question, and it is for the opposing captain to allow or disallow the request. I hope that answers your question, Gaurav.
Yeah, so to expand on top of that, in a in a match where the playing condition accepts the concussion substitutes. So in this case, for concussion substitutes to be allowed, the captain does not have a say, if I'm right. So even if it is a like-to-like replacement, so even without the consent of the opposing captain, he can be introduced, right? So I understand that the playing regulations takes precedence here over the law, if that's the right understanding.
Yes, playing conditions will always take precedence over the law. And let me just mute because I'm getting a lot of feedback while I'm trying to answer the question. A concussion replacement, the playing conditions for international cricket and also provincial professional cricket, I think across the world, allow the concussion replacement to be decided upon by the match referee who is in charge of the match. So the match referee will get a medical report from the team doctor of the injured player or the concussed player. If they are satisfied that a concussion has been diagnosed, then the team who has a concussed player will request a concussion replacement who is a like-for-like replacement, and it is for the match referee, or in the absence of a match referee, it is for the umpires to decide whether they feel that player is a like-for-like replacement or not. We normally check the crick info records of the player who is wanting to be the concussion replacement and check it against the stats of the player that he or she is replacing to confirm that it is a like-for-like replacement. And yes, according to the playing conditions, the opposing captain has no say whether to allow or disallow a concussion replacement. It is up to the match referee, and if there is no match referee, it is up to the umpires alone to decide. I hope that answers your question, Gaurav. Last hand up.
Thank you.
Is Mohammed Shakur. Mohammed, you may unmute your microphone. The floor is yours.
Hello, Tom. Am I audible?
Yes, loud and clear. Go ahead.
Yeah, quickly. This question here, it's kind of give and take. A batter plays the ball, his bat ricochet in the air, the ball end up, at square leg. However, his helmet dislodged the bills, fell off and dislodged the bill. Appeal was made. Is he or she reliable to out hit wicket or not? What is your opinion?
Mohammed, we are coming to the hit wicket law, I think in lecture number 4 or 5. We will answer that question in the appropriate lecture. As mentioned at the beginning of the lecture, we are only taking questions related to the content that we are presenting in each of the first 5 lectures. So please do join us for lecture 4 or 5, and we will answer your questions.
I had problem in log, as I mentioned to you, to get in login. So I'll try to figure it out. So that's the problem right now. I get it on my phone, but not on the computer.
No problem, Mohammed. We'll see you in later lectures.
Thank you.
Last question from Zahid Abbas. What if the replacement is for a bowler who has not completed their over? Can the replacement come on and complete the over, like how the batter is allowed to bat if the replaced player is not out? Correct, Zahid. The request and submission of a request for a concussion replacement does take a while for the match referee to check that it is indeed a like-for-like replacement. So it might hold up the game too long to try and get the replacement player on to complete the over. But technically, nothing disallows the replacement player to complete the over of the bowler that he or she is replacing. I hope that answers your question. Gaurav wants to know, from an exam perspective, should we need to know all the law numbers by heart? No, Gaurav. You will see when we go through the revision lecture that all you need to do is write down your understanding of a law. You don't need to write down the law verbatim, and you definitely don't need to write down the law number. Next question is from Zahid. At international level, is the replacement of a batter who is not out only because of concussion, or are there other reasons in which it is allowed? Zahid, at the moment, as per the ICC playing conditions, only players can only be replaced when there is a neck or head injury, and it is called a concussion replacement because it is only for injuries which are from the neck upwards. So as per the Pakistan versus South Africa example, where the Pakistani batter broke his ankle, there was no replacement allowed. There was only a substitute allowed who could field in place of the injured batter. I hope that answers your question. I do not see any more questions in the chat box. I do not see any more hands up in the meeting room. I would like to thank all of you for your attendance and your interaction. As mentioned, this lecture is being recorded and it will be posted in our YouTube channel by tomorrow, 10 a.m. South African time. We will reconvene again for lecture number 2 on Monday, the 7th of April, same time, same place, same Microsoft Teams meeting link. Have a good evening further. Thank you and goodbye.